Hello and welcome to another episode of An Echo of Glory. I'll catch you out, boys. I'm Jake Robson. You'll notice that the main man, Johnny Blaine, is elsewhere. But luckily enough, I'm joined by two of the best. First up, it's catering's Adam Nathan.
How are you?
Cooking's Adam Nathan.
All the above.
Chefing's. Yep. I'm good. And Gary Diamond.
Evening, how are you?
The Easter Bunny, Santa Claus himself. You've drowned us all in chocolate.
Oh, I have, yes. Yeah, well, I needed a bit of a perk me up.
You're in a better mood as of about 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Well, as I said, Johnny's not here, but he's handed me the keys to the kingdom, so I can say exactly what I want for the next hour or so. And would you believe it? We finally didn't lose a game. And better than that, we've got all these comments that have started coming in before we've even gone on air. One tweet, we'll do it all. Let's read some of them out. Jorge Pena, a point away on my birthday. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to you, Jorge. Simon Beresford, says happy birthday as well. We normally lose heavy up there. Good away point for sure. I think that's fair. Ben Green, terrible attacking performance. Yes. Excellent point. Yes. Horrendous penalty decision. Yes. We'll come to all of that. Apparently Carragher might have had his mic left on. We'll get some more on that. Jorge will tell us. And last one for now, Mark Stewart Wakely. Few and breathe. Very good. Very good. Lads, thank you very much for coming down. Gary, we were watching it here. We'll do what we normally do. Let's start with the lineup. What do we think? It feels like a while ago, but it's worth discussing because, as ever, there are talking points.
Do you want to go?
Can you remember it? Shall I remind you?
Do I want to go? I feel that we're entering the phase where Thomas has all the players on the wall and he just lines up the pictures like a board in a detective show, and he gets 11 darts. And he puts his head on a broomstick and he spins around 10 times really, 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 really fast, and he just throws them.
Yeah, but Siemens,
and he sees what happens.
Siemens isn't up there because
Siemens is not allowed.
Siemens is not allowed.
Well, no, he actually has different sizes for different. So Benson Core is A1 piece of paper, and Benson and Xavi Siemens is on half the postage stamp. Yeah. And that's how he picks the team, and it's fascinating to see.
I think you got to give a bit of leniency. For example, they didn't start Guimaraes, and Eddie Howe said in the pre-match conference that Guimaraes had played a lot of minutes, so he was resting him. So Van de Ven has played basically every minute this season, and whilst you wouldn't want to go to St James's without Van de Ven, it is what it is. Like, I think you have to accept, and this is a guy that us fans have always wanted wrapped up in cotton wool because he's so important to us. So if he needed the break, then that's what it is, and you've got to trust them on that. I guess my biggest sort of disconsternation, if that's the word.
I'm not sure it is.
I feel like you can just do consternation.
I'll let you have it.
Well, my greater unhappiness, whatever, with the lineup was my favourite, Brennan Johnson. I was happy that he was playing on the left and not the right, but I just sort of feel like, you got Tell and Odeber, who are two left wingers. Why are you playing Johnson?
Having not played a minute.
Never even mind the fact that I don't like the guy, and I think he's an absolute coward. And he for me, I think he nearly cost us 2 goals tonight. And even in spite of that, as one of his better performances, he actually got on the ball, went down the line, and put in 2 very good crosses. In fairness to him, but why start him on the left? Like, you've got Tell and Odeber. Where is the faith in these kids to say go and play? And then, of course, there's the question of Siemens, who, I just I don't get it. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. I think Sarr is again really flattering to deceive. I don't think he's a technically good footballer. And you will never find me say anything but get your best technical players into the team. You will be a better football team. I don't see how you can be a good football team with Pap Sarr in one of the key midfield roles. I just don't get it. But there you go. That's my view on the lineup.
I think as far as the Van de Ven one goes, you sort of look at it and go, I'd rather he plays, but I get it, which is basically what you're saying. I think you could probably make a case. Apart from Johnson, I think you can make a case before this game is played. I think you make a case for the rest of the side. So he's resting Palhinha. So Bentancur's in the 6, although I'd like to see Gray there. Sarr hasn't played much this season. His legs in midfield, physical game against Newcastle, and then Bergvall sort of at the point of the 10, and then Kudus, Colin Wani, and I think Johnson. I think. Do we think though that? I think the question with Xavi Simons is Bergvall has had a couple of good games. He's the man in possession.
But I don't even look. I think
Is
tonight
that unfair?
was he in the 10, or was it sort of Sarr?
We don't
and,
play with 10s.
Or was it Sarr and Bergvall in an 8, but both in the 8s?
I mean, it's 3 defensive midfielders running around.
I'm not sure Bergvall's a defensive midfielder.
But I mean, they're not out there to score goals. I mean,
No.
you look at the picture that Johnny sent us, we have a funny one where we've got the ball in defence and he's just drawn a little blue man in the middle of the pitch.
Okay, agreed.
The midfield is an uninhabitable zone for Tottenham Hotspur right now.
Well,
It's just put 3 players there to run around.
I would say actually that matches up not that bad against Newcastle, because between, I know he scored at the weekend, Miley, but between Tonali, Miley and Joe Linton, you're sort of matching up there in a way that who's their 10 there. I'm not. This isn't even a mitigation of the lineup. I just think that. I think you're matched up. You're not matched up that badly, especially when you know Joe Linton is physical.
But you know what? Ultimately, it's kind of immaterial, because if you are going to be a team that doesn't know how to pass through the lines and get forwards, then it's pretty irrelevant who you play. You may as well just play your big brute defenders and defensive midfielders, because, you know, more than the lineup, the bigger point about the game tonight was the passing patterns from us were diabolical, like diabolical, and it's, you know, there were moments in the first half when I was genuinely watching it, and I said to you, we have to be probably the worst footballing side in the Premier League and quite possibly the Championship. Because you look at the Championship these days, and these teams pass and move, and they've got patterns that we just don't know how to pass the ball to one another. We don't know how to get out of a press. The only way we get up the pitch is a long old hoof, and then hope that we win a second ball, and then we're up the pitch. And once we're in the opposition half, we're actually okay-ish, kind of. But getting from defence into the middle third up to that top third is the most painful thing I've seen. And even when we start sometimes in the top third, there's a point in the second half where we had great possession. Carragher called it out just after I said it to you. I said, look at this. Go forwards. Oh, they're back at the keeper. It is unbelievable that this is Tottenham Hotspur playing in this way. And so we're talking about the lineup and mitigating Sarr. Could it be this one? Could it be Simons?
Splitting hairs, isn't it?
What's the fucking point? If you're not going to pass to one another, if you're not going to tap it round the corner, run off each other, if you don't know how to play in triangles, move the opposition around, what's the fucking point in debating the lineup?
There goes the algorithm.
I was looking up on about 70 minutes teams that play in yellow in the lower leagues, because that game was ultimately like watching a League One side go to Newcastle and St James's Park in the FA Cup. Well, I think Oxford play in yellow.
Right.
Torquay.
Norwich.
Mansfield.
Norwich didn't go too high. Norwich wouldn't go and play such
Mansfield
sufferable. Yeah, I think Mansfield do. And Charlton play away from home.
In yellow.
In yellow. And that's what it felt like. It just felt like a lower league team that are going up there, and you've got one decent right winger, and all you're going to do is just hump the ball to him and hope he can hold it up and then turn. I mean, Kudus gets a bit of flack, and I think that is wildly misplaced, because the job that bloke is asked to do and the passes he's asked to receive and make something of is a bloody miracle that he's able to do something. He's, you know, the fact he can chip in with goals and assists when basically it's just wang it to him. And Lewis Hall's a good player and was up his arse the majority of the game. Like, credit to Kudus, because he has a really thankless task and can turn it into a lot more than...
It's the only way we can get out.
Yeah.
It's the only way we can get out. And the only times we looked dangerous were when somehow he managed to bring it down and wriggle past Lewis Hall, or on the odd occasion when actually we got it to him and he was facing Hall up. But yeah, he's got a thankless task.
Yeah, it's very hard.
We've got absolutely no way to get out at all. The whole pattern of it tonight was depressingly bad. It really, and I know we've got a really good point, and the fact that we've got a point against Newcastle, I would suggest says more about how bad Newcastle are, because I actually don't think they're a particularly good team. Like, I really don't. They've got some good players, but if you can't beat the Spurs team, at one point tonight, I thought they just got so bored they were going to forget to win. Like, it really was bad.
David Clark, 2513. You want to see Gray in the 6? Don't make me fall off my chair. Palini is so many levels above that kid. It's undeniable. Yeah, but the point was that when you're not picking Palhinha tonight, I would have rather then seen Gray in the six. But anyway, will Spurs 100%, Gary? Don't know what he means, but I'm sure he just means everything. Mouldy Pickle, was the whole world duped into thinking Xavi's a good player as Frankie capable of using at the moment? Play him into form. See, this is the thing I'm not quite sure about, because I think I'm sort of of the opinion that he's been given not necessarily enough of a go, but he's been given a good go. And Bergvall came in for whatever reason against PSG and had a really good game. And I sort of think that he might have done enough to maybe keep his place in the side. But what side of the fence do you guys fall on that?
I think they're such different players.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think ultimately Bergvall's profile is the kind of player that Frank wants, and Xavi Simons is not. There's only so many games that he cannot play Simons before you can give an excuse for everyone. That's not really his sort of game. Not really his sort of game. He's not playing because he obviously doesn't fancy him.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that much more complicated than that. I just think he prefers Bergvall's profile. He wants the legs. And I don't really think. Look at the way we play. There's no focus on building the play through the lines and breaking the lines. So he probably sees Simons as a needless player because that's not how we're going to play anyway.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. Cambridge United went up there in yellow and beat them, apparently, according to. I can't say that. What's he called? Ilajuk 2089. Cambridge United playing yellow. I tell you, one team it certainly wasn't was Brazil.
Well, no,
Tottenham
it was not quite. No.
No.
There's a point there from Tom Thorin.
Yeah.
A point in Newcastle is great. Thumbs up. Gives Frank some breathing space. And I suppose that we can talk about the game all we want, but I think this game is probably a microcosm of a lot of the season. And I know after the Everton game, you sort of went silent. I didn't realize you'd actually been to the game, so I can understand why you were quite positive. But like on our group, I was absolutely livid after the Everton game because I thought I as a fan find it very hard to separate result with performance. And for me, like if you don't put the performance in, the result eventually will run out. And I've come into the studio tonight. I'm still pretty spitting at how he played. And I just wonder, do I want Frank to have breathing space? Because I'm really getting to my wit's end of watching this because I just don't see where this is going.
I can separate performance from result because I think, there are times when you can go up to Everton in their new stadium, they've not been beat there yet. And, by all means, keep it tight. We didn't really, I think, look like conceding to Everton. Like I can't think of a really good chance that they had. Keep it tight and then you go. I thought it was a classic away performance. Actually, really professional, did the job, and I've got no problem with that at all. But tonight, you've got, I relayed into Newcastle earlier the fact that they can't beat us. They must be a poor team. That's just kind of, I think, true of anyone at the minute because we're really bad. We're really, really bad. But the reality is, I think Newcastle are a better footballing team than Everton. They've got some good players, and I think this to me didn't look like a classic away performance. It looked like a team waiting to get beaten. Mm-hmm. Like it looked like a team that was just we were giving the ball back to them. There were points at which we were trying to help them score. Like it just looked like a team waiting to get beaten. This was not a professional classic away performance where, against Everton and screw the algorithm tonight. It's late at night. I thought it was a shit ass performance from us against Everton, and I was there for it. Like not just physically, but I'm there for it in the sense of love that, great. Don't care about the performance. Shit ass them, win the game, and I'd have been delighted if that had been the case tonight. But it wasn't. It really wasn't, and I think when it's off the back of 3 or 4 really bad performances, I dismissed PSG because that was, I thought, a very good performance, actually, against PSG away. I thought that was a very good performance. In fact, it was the performance, weirdly enough, that I've enjoyed watching us the most in probably since about October 2023. I really enjoyed that performance away at PSG. Outside of that,
what game was in October 2023?
It was the last of Andrew's. It was the last of Andrew's 10 first games.
Yeah, which one was it? Do you even remember?
Chelsea. The first 20 minutes of that Chelsea game.
What was the game before Chelsea?
Luton, I think.
Luton
everyone
or
remember?
Palace.
I remember the Luton game. Palace.
5-minute
Palace.
We beat them 2-1.
Oh, at theirs, Friday night. Yeah.
But it was, we have been unenjoyable to watch basically since October 2023. And the point that I was making was, this performance off the back of the last 3 or 4, putting the PSG one to one side, but done absolutely nothing against Chelsea in one of the most disgraceful home performances in living memory, followed up by one of the most pathetic North London derby performances you could think of, followed up by, no particular order, drawing against Manchester United, not having mustered a shot until about the 80th minute. United are utter crap. Whatever. Yeah. And then Fulham. I mean, fuck me. Right? And then you see this tonight, and you're like, there's no creativity, there's no spark. And sometimes you can look at XG, right? And you know, when you're creating chances, you can say, oh, I think for example, you know, City tonight had an XG of about 4.5, right? And they scored 5 goals. Fulham had an XG, I think, of 0.89 and scored 4 goals, right? So XG doesn't always correlate. I'm not too fussed about XG, but when it's 0.0 something, you can still say to yourself, well, if we're getting into a position where the final ball is wrong, but had that final ball been right, it was a certain goal, I don't mind about XG. But we're not even doing that. The XG is 0.00 for a damn good reason. We haven't got a clue how to fucking do anything. Can't get out, can't press, can't pass round teams. We're relying, really, on kudos to beat 3 men and smash a ball into the box.
And yet, the bit that I don't understand, and, you know, maybe hear me out on this, is that at Brentford's best, when he was the manager, they could be direct, but also quick and dangerous, and they were pragmatic for the most part, but they could still kill you on the break, and they were at times, with the players they had, exciting to watch, at times. And I don't quite understand how we haven't yet seen that, or why that hasn't been brought to us, and why it's this, like, meh. Because we should. I would imagine that we have better players than Brentford, even taking into account the 3 best players that are injured.
Yeah, I just wonder if when you know, sort of in the way that United found with Moyes, for example, it doesn't always necessarily work when the manager takes the jump and is trying to bring some of the stuff that he used to do. Maybe the players just aren't having it. And there's part of today watching it that made me think, when we were sort of in a neutral game state, when it was a draw or whatever, we were awful. And then when we were losing, it was almost as if like the players like, Jesus Christ, let's do something. Forget what he's saying. Romero, you get up there, you cross it in, win a couple of corners. It almost felt like when they went into a broken state of uncoached football, they just looked sort of freer. Now, I'm probably taking sort of a tiny thing and extrapolating out and sort of fixing a narrative around what I want to think. So I wouldn't take it at face value, but they did have a feel of like, when they stopped playing the way they're coached, when they stopped listening to Bentancur and Porro permanently saying, slow down, slow down. I mean, the number of times the two of them do this to each other, slow down, and then point back to Vicario. When they have to go forward or had to go forward, it was like watching a new team.
They can't do it.
What about Bentancur?
Bentancur had a very Bentancur game tonight. He did some things really, really weird, really well, and other things just mind-bogglingly bad. I mean, there was a passage of play in the second half where I think it's come out to him, and he's played a dreadful pass right into the Newcastle player, who has then gone on himself to make a dreadful pass, and we had reclaimed the ball, but Bentancur went through and fouled him and got booked. And it was just, so some things he does really well, other things he doesn't. But look, you know, again, I think it is sort of, I just feel it's quite hard at this moment to, I know I dig out Johnson and so on, but I think it's just quite hard to dig out individual players, because while we are playing this way, I just don't think, you know, I don't think you can assess these players. And as you say, it feels as though when they upped the tempo, when they played with a bit of pace and went at Newcastle a bit, it didn't take much. It looked like Newcastle actually couldn't really deal with it. And it doesn't take much. Like I said, when we got into that final third, we looked okay-ish. But it was just getting into that final third was so bad. And getting out from our box was... I've just never seen a team struggle as much to do it.
And yet, we somehow got to half-time 0-0. And even the first goal doesn't even come until 71st minute, I've got written down.
But the funny thing is, you know, we got to half-time 0-0. I was saying to you in the first half, this feels like very, very much like the Arsenal game, where it's okay because Newcastle aren't doing too much. But if they score, what do we do then? Because it didn't look like we had a clue how to get out. And then towards the end of the first half, suddenly out of nowhere, we actually, I think, humped the ball long. It landed in their half. And we had 3 or 4 minutes of territory in possession. And Bergvall had that chance, that brilliant flick that just went wide. And I think the players suddenly realised, hang about, actually, if we get it up there, maybe we can make something happen. And we had that sort of period of control for about 5 minutes in the first half that sent me into half-time going, maybe there's something here. maybe there is. But then, the second half kicked off and it was the same again, just like this dross patterns of football, no way out. And sure enough, they went 1-0 up, which kind of looked, I wouldn't say it looked inevitable because it's not like they were banging on the door, Newcastle. But you've got to think they're always going to score at some point, and they did. Class finish.
Yeah, I think if you don't look to make the running in a game, if you do end up going behind, you can't have too many complaints. I think Neville, talked about that a lot in the Arsenal game. He was almost willing Arsenal to score because we were so defensive. I don't think it was quite that level today. I don't think Newcastle were anywhere near as good as Arsenal were. But there was this feeling of, if you don't try and make the running, what are you going to do when they score? And eventually it just took Gordon to take Porro on properly, and it lands to 2 bits of good quality and they score. But yeah, you're right. At the end of the first half, the players just looked like they were enjoying it more when they were up the pitch.
Yes.
And when we're committing men, there were how many times in the first half an hour with Colin Mawani, who actually they confused him for Sarr a few times, but there were points where he was in the position where you'd expect Sarr to be, so you could almost make a case for it. He was playing holding midfield half the time. It was just so bizarre. But every time they get up the pitch, even in that Fulham, they had probably 10 minutes between 60 and 70 where we were on top and having chances. They just looked like they were enjoying playing football more. And then no, let's get back, regress.
The Fulham game again. I can take going 2 down quick fire at home in the first 6 minutes. Like, mistakes happen. Okay, the Vicario thing was an absolute shocker, but mistakes happen. The first goal, okay, Fulham broke. Bergvall takes a weird step forwards, and that's why the ball goes past him, and then it's deflected in. It's one of them things. What you then expect at home against a team like Fulham is, take the game by the horns, go at them, play with intensity, play with tempo, and not just intensity, but make sure there is intent to your intensity, right? So, make sure there is a reason behind what you're doing with the way that you're doing it. And you're 2-0 down against Fulham at home, and you go in, you haven't had a shot on target.
Yeah, you should be kettling an opposition like Fulham in their half for half an hour.
And I guarantee you, if we had gone a freakish 2 goals up tonight in the first 6 or 7 minutes, I guarantee you we would have all sat here and gone, this game is a long way from over. Because as well, when you're at the home team, right, you can go 2-0 down, but you always know, get that goal, and particularly if that goal comes with the team playing with a bit of aggression, a bit of tempo, a bit of fire, right? Get that goal, everything changes. The away team changed. Suddenly they've got so much to lose at that point. Yeah, what did we do against? When you talk about that period in the 70th to 80th minute,
it was 50 minutes too late.
Yeah, it's 50 minutes too late. But even when we got the goal against Fulham, you're like, right, okay, here we go. Go and get the second. Did we do anything after getting the goal? Did we actually create a chance after getting the goal?
I think they won clear off the line from a corner, didn't we? And that was it.
And more than that, you're 2-0 down at home to Fulham in that first half, and they've got the best chance of the half. Yeah. After that, they should have been 3-0.
But tonight was different when we went a goal down. I think, I know it took a while, but it sort of kicked us into gear. I wonder how much the subs had anything to do or not with us getting back into the game. I couldn't say that Richarlison did much, but Tell was bright when he came on.
Well, Tell did something straight away. That there was a couple of things that happened in the second half, and I said it to you before Johnson went off. And one was that actually we did look a bit better because we were getting the ball to Johnson, who was trying to stay higher and wider. And that stretched Newcastle a bit and actually was giving Kudos a bit more space on the other side. And I said that to you straight away. But
it was Tell that stretched them.
Right. Yeah. But that was before Tell came on, right? Tell then comes on for Johnson. And his very first involvement, he cuts back inside, which Johnson didn't do once.
Yeah.
Having been high and wide, cuts back inside with Udogie going out wide still, so they're still stretched. And the ball goes over to the far side, from which point we score.
Yeah.
Right? So it seems like a nothing contribution from Tell, but it is a vital contribution. And it actually tactically, and if, Frank might have said something to them at half-time about getting wider on the left and stretching Newcastle to create the width on the right. And that's where the goals come from. It started with Johnson stretching them in that, and then Tell's come on and done the same, cut inside, and we moved the ball across and actually end up scoring a brilliant goal, by the way. It's a brilliant goal.
Yeah, it's a great header.
Finally, Johnny sent me some stats that I need to read out because I remembered one of them. It is about our man Kudus. No players more Premier League assists this season than Tottenham Hotspur's Mohamed Kudus, 5 level with Bruno Fernandes. And yet, he started the season really well. It sort of feels like I still want to see more from him. But
Because
you can't deny that you can't argue with these top
He missed
assists.
a few games as well with injury.
Exactly.
And he's not having the manager, I don't think.
You don't think?
No, I don't think any of them are.
And yet he would have signed after the manager came.
Yeah. I saw someone talk about Romero. When you start seeing Romero flying into tackles, he's got no chance of winning. That's when he's sort of given up.
Yeah, and yet Romero scored 2 great goals. Look, I don't know if these players are with the manager or not. Before the PSG game, I thought they weren't, and then they went and put in, I thought, a really good performance against PSG, and I thought to myself, there's something here, and then they go and play monitor myself. They play really badly.
Well past that game.
Really, really bad. No, it could have got a lot worse.
There's watershed on YouTube.
We
haven't touched about the penalty yet.
Very nearly. Well, we haven't touched on the Newcastle fan in here that I'm going to come back to soon.
Fair play.
Actually, let's do it now.
He is?
There was a Geordie fan in here, right? In our chat. No.
Dave does come across like a Geordie fan or an Arsenal fan.
There was an actual Geordie in here. I don't imagine that he's still here.
Geordie Pena.
No, he's always here. He's a great guy. Making some pop about league titles. Where do opposition fans
Do not.
get off on coming at... unless you are Arsenal, Chelsea, City, United, Liverpool, where do opposition fans get off on having a pop at Tottenham about titles? Newcastle have literally never won a European trophy. They won their first trophy last season, the fucking Bobbins League Cup, right? Their first trophy in 60 years. And here he comes, Mr. Billy Big Balls in here. Where Tottenham titles? Fuck off, idiot. Right,
Very good.
back to
our regular scheduled programming.
back to the point that we were making. I think the players, I don't know yet if they're with him or not. And I thought that I sat here the last time I was here and said Fulham will tell us, because that's the game that I sort of pinned everything on, and you kind of semi-excuse it because
I really respect that you don't want to fully go. You don't want to come across to the dark side yet.
No.
I respect your patience.
No. I'll tell you why, right? Because I think Fulham you can mitigate slightly in the fact that the whole game plan goes out the window 5 minutes in with 2 goals, except it's then really disappointing. We just didn't do anywhere near enough to get back into the game. Yeah. But then, you come up St James's and we're all sat there going, we're going to get turned over 4-1, 5-1. We've been here over the last 3 or 4 seasons and it's 4-5-6-1 every single time. And they dig in.
Yeah.
And they have, a lot. It wasn't just the penalty that went against him. I thought the ref was a disgrace the whole evening, by the way. Like, we were calling it in the first half. Yeah. I thought the ref was
he had that look of someone from minute one who was going to try and make it, look authoritative.
Yeah, I mean, even the booking from Romero, okay, arguably it might be a booking, but there were 3 or 4 other challenges from other players that were worse and didn't get bookings. Like, everything about that ref was bad. And so it wasn't just the penalty, which is, in my view, you struggle to find a worse penalty given this season. Mm-hmm. That was an absolute travesty. And still the players came back twice. So you say I'm willing yet to come over to the dark side. I'm unwilling yet to say the players aren't with him. Because as much as we hear the leakages of, the players are getting confused and this, that's just, I think Spurs is a club that just attracts so much attention and and the more sort of drama there is with Tottenham is great for everybody else. So I think people can't wait, particularly the likes of Matt Law, to stick his oar in and stir the pot, and stir it up a little bit. So I disregard noises that you hear coming out from journos and so on. I don't think you go up to St James's in the form that we are, and as bad as we played, that is a concern. But I don't think you come back twice if the players have given up entirely on the manager. So I'm not yet.
Not a personal pride sort of thing, because they have the players are under pressure.
And I think Romero exemplifies exactly what you're talking about. Because if anyone is going to throw the towel in, as you said, and he's the one that's popped up with 2 goals. I mean, the second goal was just, ridiculous. It was basically kneed it into the...
But, some people have been saying it looks like Kudus doesn't want to play for this manager. I thought Kudus was outstanding tonight. I thought it was absolutely brilliant and really dug in and put in a performance. I don't think the players have given up on him yet. There is a long way to go before Frank convinces any of us. That is without a doubt. And it needs to start against Brentford, and we need to start seeing patterns of play, tighter defence. The ideal scenario against Brentford would be a clean sheet with Brentford doing very little, us giving them very little, controlling the game for the most part and scoring 2 goals and just winning 2-0. That's not what is going to happen. That is obviously not what is going to happen. But if that were to happen, you'd say, okay, Forest after this. Okay. Then you've got an out-of-form Liverpool, minus Mo Salah, quite probably. Okay. It can start to roll. So I'm not yet writing Frank off.
So it can start to roll. Do you actually think it will? Full disclosure, the more I watch, the more I cannot wait to get rid of this bloke. Personal opinion, I am so done. I've never seen more depressing haram sufferball than what we are coughing up. And I almost think it embarrasses the name.
But it's no different to last season.
At least there was
it's no different
to play forward
it's no different really to under Mourinho, except that he had 2 world-class managers.
He
had 2 world-class footballers in Son and Kane that we just punted it up to them and killed teams on the break.
But there was a strategy to break forward with numbers. This is the worst I've seen.
But at the end of Mourinho, it was sort of...
Yeah, but this is 11. This is where you should be starting seeing some green shoots, and I personally am seeing nothing. I don't know about you, because you are more positive on Frank, or certainly the idea of giving a guy more time.
Oh yeah, that more. I'm with you. I don't see much of anything at the moment, but I think it's more a case of I've always been of the view that you need to give a manager time and let's see what happens, because ultimately, I know I get what you're saying. You're not seeing anything at this point, but I also think that maybe building a football team takes a bit longer than that. But anyway, I think we might agree to disagree on that.
But it's a good chat though. But it's expand on it, because we're doing a lot of talking and you're doing a great hosting job. But you're not getting a chance to offer your opinion.
No one cares what I have to say.
No, we do.
No, I'm joking.
Johnny can't. He's always sticking his oar in. So come on.
Well, yeah, that's where he goes wrong. No, I just think that, I say this all the time. How many games into the Premier League season are we? 13, 14, something like that. I think if you take into account a couple of things. Firstly, I think he's still finding out about a lot of players. I think still finding out. I think we've now got to the point where actually, I'm not sure Bentancur is worth the place in the side anymore. But it's taken 14 games of this Premier League season for me to decide that. And actually, having seen Archie Gray play against PSV the way he did on last week, I actually think Archie Gray is now, having had all those games that he had to play in defence and building up his experience in the Premier League, I think he could be worth a go as an example in the 6. So I think if we're learning more about players, I think he's learning more about players. Not only that, I think that it takes a while to get your philosophy and your ideas into the players and around, building that, feeling and that thing around the club that he obviously did at Brentford, but it took him, I don't know how many years, 6, 7 years in total to get to that point. Now, I'm not saying he's going to get 6 or 7 years, but I think that when a new manager comes in, if it doesn't go well to start with, I don't think you just get rid of him. I think you have to give him 8, 9 months, even the first season, to say, this worked, this didn't work. I agree, it's not good at the moment, but I also don't think. I think that you as a Premier League manager, having been at Brentford for however long, I think you deserve, and doing a good job with them, by the way. I think you deserve more time.
I kind of agree with you, right? But for me, it sort of comes down to a few things. Like, I go back to the leave you in, leave you out debate, and people always said, "Oh, Gary's leave you in." I wasn't. I always took the view of, show me what the alternative is, and then I can make a decision. And that's kind of where I'm at with Frank at the minute. It's like, show me what the alternative is. If you say to me tomorrow, Xavi's going to be our manager, tomorrow, not like sack Frank and 4 weeks later, tomorrow, Xavi's going to be our manager, I'd be like, oh, that's quite sexy. Yeah, I think I'd rather see that than Frank. But, at this moment, I don't think you're going to get another manager of any substance or quality at this stage of the season that would want to take over a team. A little bit like the United manager, Amorim, didn't want to come in at that point. They kind of forced him to, but it is so difficult to come in at this stage of a season. So whether it's a question of giving him a go or just, this is kind of where we're at. And then at the end of the season as well, your choice of manager pool is probably going to increase. Who knows what's going to happen after the World Cup? And I don't want it to be Pochettino. I know you desperately do. I don't want it to be Pochettino. But there will be other managers available. Nagelsmann could be available. Xavi Alonso looks like he's going to be leaving Real Madrid. No doubt he'll end up at Liverpool. But the point is, at the end of the season, there are more options. So it's not a question for me of him meriting or deserving it at the minute, because I think somebody on our chat made the biggest point. My biggest problem is I don't see a philosophy or a style of football. I can't see at this moment what he is trying to build. And I wouldn't mind if already, we were really solid at the back and keeping clean sheets and just grinding out like filthy draws. But we're not. We don't look solid at the back. We're not grinding out filthy. At least you could say we're building. That's the starting point. But we're not doing that. So that's my biggest issue. Is I just can't see the philosophy at this minute. And Chris Hall says the season's done already. So just get on with sacking.
Chris,
but I think you're missing the point. I think at the end of the season there will be a greater choice of manager that we could have that we might all want, rather than right now. And again, I think Hotspur Sam makes a great point here. Glasner was on the verge of the sack at Palace. It took Iraola the first. He was a diametric opposite to Ange. He didn't win in his first 10 games. It does take time for managers. It does, and I don't mind giving him time, but I do want to sort of be able to see a bit more of this is what you're trying to do.
Take me back to 2019. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, absolutely.
Just in life.
Run it back.
Yeah.
Run it back.
Well, I've got one for 2018 for you. Tottenham were the first side this evening to score 2 equalising goals in the final 15 minutes of a Premier League game since Spurs themselves. Do we know when?
Hang on, in 2018?
Yes, that's the clue.
Hang on, is it 18-19 or 17-18?
17-18.
2 goals away from
I'm not going to get this.
I should get this. This is bad. 17-18, 2 equalisers.
Swansea City.
In the final 15... No, that was before.
It wasn't Swansea. That was 2 free kicks in 15-16.
In the final 15 minutes of a Premier League game since Spurs themselves...
What's the date?
Lord Van Dingo says Leicester away.
Not Leicester away. February 2018.
I've really let myself down here.
See, I remember the game, but I don't remember it being goals being so late.
I can't get
Spurs themselves away to Liverpool in February 2018, also a 2-2 draw.
Of course, the
Was that the
Wanyama
penalty?
Kane one.
Yeah, Wanyama.
Yeah,
the
they were
penalty.
late
I didn't realise
goals.
the goals were so late.
Yeah,
I remember
they
the
were.
game. There you go.
Was that the penalty that Liverpool fans were convinced Sky wanted Kane to get his 100th his 100th goal
100 Premier League goal or something.
live on Sky, and that's why they gave the penalty.
I watched that in New York, so I was, the time difference frazzled me. Doesn't count.
Yeah,
Doesn't count.
Liverpool should have had a petition and demanded to replay the game.
Speaking of dodgy penalties, that we should be asking for permission to replay the game.
Blimey.
That was Jake. That's great hosting. You knew that was game. You knew that had a dodgy penalty. That's why you've brought it up now. That's great.
Absolutely,
work
I brought you straight in. I just want to go back to 2019.
I would say though, it's something they're going to have to look at, because it was noticeable that the defenders weren't looking at the ball. I noticed on their very first corner that Newcastle had, the defenders were looking at the men. I said to you, they're looking at their men. They're not looking at the ball. I don't think that's enough to give the penalty by a long shot, but it's going to give them food for thought, because if that's how he wants them to defend, he can't now ask them to defend that way.
I think that's the decision, that if next Saturday at 3:03 p.m. 29 penalties are given across the country because the first corner of so many games has happened and everyone does it and it gives a penalty, I think we'd all be on board with that. And if that eradicated from the game. But that happens at every corner, in every game, up and down the country, left side of the world, right side of the world, and you've never, ever seen a penalty for it. And that's what I think I cannot get my head around.
It's a dreadful decision.
And Carragher couldn't see the ball because he had Bentancur in a headlock.
Yeah,
of course he could never look at the ball.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
I thought we don't need to gloss. We don't need to dwell on that too much. We can gloss over it. Well, let's talk lastly on this game before we put it to bed. 95th minute, Kuti, back post, off his knee. Is that fair?
I think it came off his shin and then onto his foot.
His upper leg. I'm giving him.
But what's phenomenal about it is, I don't think he would have got the penalty. Although I think it's more of a penalty than the other one.
For sure.
But I don't think he would have got it. But he gets up so quick, and
he does his best. Bless him.
That is a hell of a finish.
I don't know what Dan Burn's doing, just sort of watching it go in, but I'll take it.
It just sort of bobbled, didn't it? I mean, it's not the cleanest overhead kick, but fair enough. We were up there. We're getting the ball into the box. Get the ball into the box. Have men in the box, and things happen. Shocking. Football is not a complicated game. Shoot, you're likely to score. Get men in the box, a lot more likely to score. That's what happened. But tremendous reactions, unbelievable overhead kick, and ultimately, for as bad a performance as it was, we've gone up to Newcastle and played a lot better and lost.
Well, as I said, but off air, better teams have been to Newcastle this season and lost. A couple at least, not many, but a couple. I looked at their results. Romero, when he's hot, he's hot. Of course, we all know that perhaps sometimes when the chips are down, you want maybe a bit more from him. Well, I certainly do. But when he's like that tonight, popping up, I mean, over the years, your John Terrys, these kind of guys, he's grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck and he said, "Don't worry, guys, I'm going to drag us out of this." And he's come up with a header and a bicycle kick to draw us the game away at Newcastle. Anyone that questions his commitment, me included, when you see that kind of thing, you can't argue with it.
I think leadership can show itself in different ways.
Absolutely.
And he's obviously not the most willing speaker, although it sounds like he gave an interview to Sky Sports this evening in English for the first time, which is full credit to him for that. Genuinely, it's not easy, and credit for him for doing that. I've been
calling for it, and he must speak good enough English, having been here long enough.
I think he did an interview in English for the club website when he became captain, didn't he? So he obviously speaks some English, but fair play for doing it. I don't think many people would want to go to Argentina and speak Spanish in an interview there, so credit for that.
Yeah.
But he leads by example, and sometimes that leadership, that looks like a plane with a propeller missing and the other one in flames going down in a blaze of glory, and it's not always with the most measured approach, but he is a leader. You don't win as much as he's won and been such an important part in that many trophy wins without having something about you.
I said last season, listen, we all love Son, but for me, the natural captain in that team was Romero.
Yeah. And
then he goes and signs a long-term contract, commits himself to the club. And you know what? As I say, all players are going to do stupid things at times and make mistakes. It happens. I don't think Romero's commitment can really sort of be in question anymore. Particularly when actually, I used to have a pop at him because he was injured and then miraculously came back for Argentina and then was injured again and then came back for Argentina. But he is now club captain. He signs a long-term contract and...
No, he's definitely this season upped his, I want to say, concentration levels and committedness, but from a captain's perspective on the pitch. He's really stepped up in terms of the way he's led the side this season.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about
100%. that. 100%. And I think as well, there's a lot of criticism towards Frank at the minute. But at the end of the day, we've picked up injuries, yes, but they're not these sort of muscle injuries or most of them are sort of most of them are impact injuries or
they're
whatever,
bad luck in some cases, dead legs and broken jaws.
And you've got Romero, who has been, touch wood, mostly fit all season. You've got Van de Ven, who has been fit, touch wood, all season. Richarlison, Frank picked up on this point for the game. So, Frank does bring that sports science, that data and all that. the staff and the coaching staff that he's got around him, it does make you think that, the setup looks correct. There are things that are going better. A couple of things start falling our way and it could be good, but I just want to see us passing a little bit more. I want to see us being able to control the game a bit more. I want to see the players know what the plan is, because it doesn't look to me like we actually know. And that's my point. I don't think it takes much from where we are. We've got a really good squad of players. We've got a lot of talent in that squad. And I think he just needs to be a little braver and let the players go and express themselves. It kind of reminds me of the type of squad that Ramos had when we took 2 points from 8 games. And all it took was Redknapp to come in and let the players play.
Get us to run around a bit.
Slap a bottle of ketchup on the table.
Free them up a little bit, right? Go and express yourselves. Yeah. And I think in that season went from 2 points in 8 games to missing out on 5th by a couple of points, just about, right? Because the talent was there. That's what I see in this squad. I think this is a talented squad that if he just frees them up a bit and gives them that license to go and express themselves and play, it's so close to being in place, but at the moment it just looks so bad.
Well, what happens on Saturday then?
I don't know. I mean,
what team does he pick?
Oh God.
Well, what team should he pick?
I would pick.
Does Porro need a rest?
Front, yes. Porro needs more than a rest.
I'm sort of getting there with you.
I would pick, to be fair. My personal favourite back five with Spence at right back.
Back five?
No, keeper.
Sorry, yeah.
Keeper, Spence, Romero,
Right.
Romero, Van der Ven,
Van der Ven
Doggy.
will come back in.
And I would then play Graham Bergval, Kudus, Simons, Tell, Moani.
Simons, Tell. See, I think that's a team we could get behind.
But I've been asking for that front four for the whole season. It's never happened, so...
You want Tell through the middle and Moani on the left?
No, Tell on the left.
Oh, Tell on the
Moani
left.
up front.
Okay. What about you?
I just
It might not be far off. Palini, I think, will play. If we're being honest, he'll play. But I could get on board with that team.
Again, that's like I said earlier. I don't think the lineup really matters if the intention isn't there, right? You've got to go out and play with intent. You've got to go out and know how you're going to break a team down, and how you actually want to play. If you're going to go out and play with a bit of intensity, you're going to play on the front foot. You're going to bang those passes into one another, and actually look like you want to go and hurt a team. Then fine, then it matters, the lineup. In an ideal world, the lineup that I would like to see would probably be, honestly, truthfully, I would play your back four. The only question there is whether it's Porro or Spence.
Yep.
I would then, genuinely, and people knock me for this, I would go, I've always said I want my best technical players in the team, and also at this point I want to see my younger kids that have got talent in the team that can actually go beyond. I'd like to see Gray and Bergval sitting deep. I would go Kudos right mid, Simons in the middle, and either Tell or Odebert on the left, and Kolo Moani up top.
Same team.
Is that
Yeah.
Sorry, I was somewhere else.
Cheers
then.
for checking in.
Yeah, no, sorry, I was thinking about something else. But that's what I would do. Yeah, absolutely. Play the kit, like literally, take the handbrakes off and say, go and play. Yeah, I just don't think that against Brentford you need a Palhinha. I don't think Brentford are going to come at us and have an XG of 3.5, whatever. They shouldn't be creating that many chances. So say to them, go and take control of this game and go and actually play. Take the handbrake off. And I'll tell you something, if Frank doesn't do it and ends up getting sacked, he'll only have himself to blame, because I genuinely think that Bergval from deep, Gray from deep, are going to turn out to be very, very good footballers.
Well, they already are. Right? They're not turning out. They already are.
And I don't think, if he's so concerned about having a six there to cover in those gaps and things like that, that's the point. Gray should be doing that. I didn't realise that was the team, so I did completely switch off. I literally can't remember what I was thinking about.
He's like, you're ignorantly popular. I was like, okay, fine. I wonder what he's doing. Well, I have 4, 5, 6.
Here
7.
we go.
I was genuinely,
hang on, he's not.
I was genuinely on another planet at that point. Like, I don't know what I was thinking about, but I swear I didn't even hear you.
But so when you talk about,
you.
Yeah, there you go. Well done. So it's good when you say, all Frank needs to do is, can he break the shackles off and play forward? My eyesight is terrible, right? I have to wear lenses every day. There's times where I feel like what you were saying about Frank is like asking my eyes just to miraculously become better, like overnight. Because I don't know if Frank It's all right saying it.
Yeah, but
he may just not be the person that's going to do
And
it.
if that's the case, then that's the case.
And that's
right?
what I'm struggling.
And if he doesn't
I don't
do
understand because the team I'm seeing now is not the team that I saw a lot at Brentford last year or in the last 4 or 5 years. And this is another brilliant segue because I was at Keith Andrews' presser today, the Brentford manager, and I've written down something that he said. Because the Sky reporter asked him, is the game for Brentford tonight or within this week, midweek, not tonight, they're playing tomorrow, I think, at Arsenal, the hardest game of the season for you? And he said, blah, 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 we want to compete to win the game. And I swear on my life, I went to Thomas Frank's press conferences and he said words to the same effect. We're going to give it our best. We're going to do our best to try and win the game. So I've got Keith Andrews saying it, and Thomas Frank said this at Brentford.
Something in the water down there.
Well, yeah, but I haven't seen a lot of that in the last few weeks at Tottenham, us going to try to win the games. Again, I ask you the same question. I don't understand why he hasn't been able to bring, and maybe he will yet if he's given more time. Why aren't we seeing some of what was at Brentford at Tottenham with better players?
Well, let me put this to you, because I might be wrong in this. You will definitely remember and correct me if I am wrong. I could have sworn that Conte, at some point, a Spurs manager, said, you'll have to ask them because they're not doing on the pitch what I have been asking them to do. And I'm pretty sure that Ange said, I don't know why they're not passing forward, mate. I asked them to pass forwards, and they're not doing it. So I wonder if Frank's kind of... Am I wrong that these managers...
I think
I've
Conte
obviously paraphrased.
Conte said something to that. Like, I think after that Burnley game when we lost 1-0, when he just decided I'm going to resign on the spot.
Yeah,
no, Tony, calm down. Have a glass of red. Chill.
He went an absolute rampage, didn't he? And said that they're just not doing what I wanted them to do. And I'm sure that Ange said something similar.
The Burnley away game before the good run.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm sure that Ange said something similar. And it might be that Frank is saying behind closed doors, why the hell are these guys not doing what I'm asking them to do? And it could well be, Thomas, that actually maybe we've come to... I like Bentancur. He came in and did a great job. But, maybe you just need to bin him off now. Right? I know he's just signed a long-term contract.
Well, he played the whole game, so maybe I don't see him playing on the weekend.
No, I only see Palhinha playing, right? But grow a pair. Why do you need Palhinha against Brentford? You just shouldn't. You shouldn't need Palhinha against Brentford at home. You should be looking at that and saying, right, Archie Gray, Lucas Bergvall, you two are now going to have the opportunities. Like I say, get these technical players in, good footballers, players that can put their foot on the ball, play forward,
If we assume that Palhinha is going to play, though, even if he played Bergvall and Simons in front of them, I could
tolerate that.
I could tolerate it. Yeah,
but when it's Gray, Palhinha, and
Bergvall,
that's when you're thinking.
Yeah.
Or even worse, Gray, Bergvall, Palhinha, and Sarr. Just
Simons at home. Brentford at home feels like. I mean, we've said this. It feels like a Xavi Simons game.
That was it. Somebody's picked me up and said, where was it? Ange admitted the majority of his players and staff are still not true believers in his attacking philosophy. Chelsea away, Ange was screaming, pass it forwards. Look, I think maybe sometimes these players aren't quite they haven't got the balls to do it. Maybe they are scarred by whatever's gone on in the past. And Will Spurs are saying here, you guys are massively overestimating Graham Bergvall being able to run a game at 19.
I saw it at PSG.
Let's break this down, right? They've got this kid Miley Cyrus, or whatever his name is, right, in midfield. At the age of 19, I get it. He's alongside two experienced brutes in Guimaraes or Tonali and that thug Joel Linton. But he's playing game in, game out. To me, both of them are better players than him. Both of them. You've got Anderson, who went on and has become a fabulous player that everybody would want in their team.
He's starting in the World Cup for England.
Everybody would want them in their team. I think Bergvall's a better player. They might not be. You might say we're massively overestimating them, because they're not going to run a game. But they're never going to run a game if they don't play a game.
Yeah, I don't need them to dominate on Saturday.
Correct.
I need them to get enough reps and enough minutes under their belt that in a year's time, when we hopefully have gone through some sort of a rebuild, then they're in a position to do it. I mean, because right now we're picking defensive teams, but I was watching this today. The problem I've got with Frank is that it's not like he's overly cautious or whatever. We're neither attacking nor defensive. We're not expansive.
Yeah.
We're not compact. We're not progressive, and we're not reactive. We just don't do anything. Like, I wouldn't mind playing low block, aggressive Mourinho ball and attacking at pace.
You know
at least that's style.
This brings me back to the Brentford. I don't understand it because there was, whether you liked it or not, there was a clear identity at Brentford, and I can't believe that we haven't.
But what I don't understand, right, is, we played away at PSG, and there was actually an identity to the team in that game.
Yeah.
They were pressing high. They were winning the ball high. They were aggressive in what they were doing.
Second
there was
balls
intent.
as well. We were winning in midfield.
There was intent. I've used this word a lot tonight. Intent. It looked like they knew what they were trying to achieve. And he said afterwards, "That's the identity of the team that I want to create." And then we play Fulham,
Intensity.
and I get it, right? I get like Fulham aren't, we're going to be dominating the ball, but that went out the window. But I was expecting today, right? For example, I was expecting to be much more aligned to the PSG type of performance. Newcastle, I thought, would dominate the ball, but actually we would press really aggressively, and we'd get at them, we'd push them back, we'd win the ball high up. But the performance today from PSG were worlds apart.
Yeah.
There was no identity. And he said, that's the identity I want after PSG. I thought to myself, if that's the identity he wants, that's something I can get on board with. That looked like that was getting back to Pochettino days with that aggressive press, winning it up there, and then going and scoring when we've caught them high. I thought, great, get on board with that if that's what he wants us to be. I haven't seen anything about that since Fulham and tonight. None of it. So it's really bizarre.
You both going on Saturday?
I'm working, unfortunately.
Chris Hall
fortunately.
Chris Hall's just put, we conceded 5 goals in 35 minutes against PSG, if you forgot. Chris is very negative about Tottenham at the minute, and I do get it. But Chris, if you said to me, if I went to PSG with Tottenham in good form, at the peak of our form, right, and you said to me, in order to win, PSG, in order to keep in touch with us, PSG are going to need to score 2 absolute world-class goals just to stay in the game, I'd say okay. And then on top of that, right, gifted them 2 goals because our players are idiots, and then they get a penalty, which is, it's more of a penalty than the one tonight, but again, come on, that's just not football, right? So this idea, people like to poke with, they scored 5 goals, 2 worldies, 2 disaster mistakes, and a penalty for a handball.
It didn't feel like a conceded
it wasn't.
5 goal.
It's not like it's not like they ripped us apart, got in behind us time again, and tapped it into an empty net. Like let's not be disingenuous now.
Are you going on Saturday?
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Who are you going with?
I've no idea at the minute. My brother's not going. My mates that I sit in the East Stand aren't going.
Oh, everyone's jacked it in.
Everyone's jacked it in, but I will
Jake,
go.
you can go with him.
I've got 2.
No,
I've got 2 spare tickets. If anybody wants 2 spare, if anybody wants 2 spare tickets, I've got 2 spare tickets in the East Upper, lovely seats. And I'll either go. I'll meet some people probably in the Beehive or the Antwerp Arms. Before that's for sure, but I don't know who I'm sitting with at the moment. I'm sitting on my J's, unfortunately, but I'll still go.
And plans for the rest of the week before we go? Little birdie tells me you've got a trip out tomorrow.
I'm going fishing tomorrow.
Where are you going?
Down in Guildford, bit of fly fishing.
Guildford.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit of a schlep for you, isn't it?
It is a bit of a schlep, but it's a great place to fish.
Have you got to throw them back, or can you cook them?
No, unfortunately, you actually can't throw them back.
So you've got to cook them.
Yeah, they're not great, but we do it more for the sport than the eating.
Why can't you throw it back? I know nothing about fishing.
Something about
nice weather
if you mishandle a fish, it's got a protective. This is really not what the listeners are.
Well, maybe they are.
Maybe they're some keen anglers.
They're going to hang on for the.
I do Echo of Angling on a Thursday morning, so they can check into
angling?
It's an Glory Echo of Angling. Angling's a fishing.
Yeah,
Come on, mate! You're supposed to work in the game.
I don't know about fishing, mate.
Yeah, Echo of Angling Thursday
the
morning.
The only thing
10
I know
o'clock.
about fishing is David Seaman and Gaza in Euro '96.
Yeah.
Didn't they do that?
Yeah.
I took you fishing.
Yeah.
You'll notice here that we've gone to the wide shot. That's TV. That's a TV term because you can see in front of you, apart from these 3 very fine chaps, the Mickey van der Ven shirt replica from that night in Bilbao, May 2025. And we have been lucky enough to get ourselves one of them, and you can win it. But the competition has been running for a good couple of months, and it is going to be coming to a close. I remember
after the game this
after
weekend.
The game this weekend, yes, Brentford was the one. So is that next Monday?
Yep.
The only way you can go and win it is, or have a chance to win it, is by becoming an Echo of Glory member, which you can do. You have to go to the YouTube page on your tablet, on your phone, on your laptop, whatever, and become a member. Sign up to be an Echo of Glory member, and then you will be automatically placed in the draw to win this fantastic piece of memorabilia.
Predictions?
I'm just glad we've stopped talking about fishing. Well, my prediction for the game, I'll go last because that's my right.
1-1.
I am going with the Frank Renaissance. This is the beginning.
The Renaissance.
Yeah, we're gonna roll them over, and I'm gonna be positive and say, actually, this is gonna be the start of it. We're gonna go and tonk them 3-0.
Oh, 3-0, clean sheet.
Yeah, clean sheet,
FC.
3 goals. Yeah.
I was going to say 3-1.
Wait.
Yeah.
I mean, this comes from absolutely
I
nowhere
fancy
because it could well be that we don't register a shot on target, but I want to believe that actually we're just going to say let's go, let's come on, let's go and do it.
I fancy this. Colin Moani gives me a bit of hope to hold on to, because although apart from the goal he scored against PSG, I don't think he's done anything spectacular, but he seems to make the right decisions at the right time. And I think he could be a good one for us up top.
You know, like how some teams like Bayern Munich play music after somebody scores. Mm-hmm. If he scores, should we just like put on Phantom of the Opera? I think that would be a very good one to do with his mask.
Because of the mask?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
We should start playing music when just random things happen, like if Johnson controls the ball. In fact, do you know what? We always forget to say like and subscribe and comment and hype the video.
And
Gary has knackered the algorithm to a point where we are going to need every comment possible. In the comments tonight, if you've reached the end of the episode, give us like a player does something and you play a song. So Johnson controls the ball properly and you play Simantov and Muzzletov, which is one for the
Put them in the comments. We'll read them
give
out
us a
on
comment,
Monday.
because we need all the help we can get with the algorithm.
I won't read them out. Johnny will read them out because he's going to be back on Monday after the Brentford game. I'm not sure who's with him. Either of you there?
Oh my God.
Yes, I'm podding on Monday, I think.
So, no, I don't think.
Before we go, how's the dog?
Oh, he's lovely.
Yeah.
He's lovely. I've added something to my. By the
To your
by,
life
you
skills.
can log off now because this is not football. But
It's not football anymore.
going out for a walk with the dog in the morning is
Nothing better.
One of the greatest things you can do.
Right.
It is brilliant.
When I get a dog, I will let you know how it feels. Guys, thank you very much for coming in. It is, of course, late. It's 11:30 on a match night, a game that we didn't do very well in. Thank you both for coming in. Gary, we'll see you anon.
Oh, yeah, probably. So I tuned out again there.
Yeah. And you'll be back on Monday.
Unless I get fired by Blano, then yes, I'll be here.
No, you won't. Thank you for watching. Johnny will be back as well on Monday. And up the Spurs.